Keep your eyes on your fries because we are live on Friday night. We did it. I'm a bit late. Apologize. So what I was trying to do, I can't get in there. I think what I'm going to do is see if I can find this live on my computer. What I was trying to do is I was trying to use my good camera because I have a really good camera. So I was wanting to use the good camera, and so we'd have good audio and good visual tonight. So as you come into the room, if you would put down in the comments, what you're driving, what you're into. So we're gonna have automotive trivia tonight. If you answer a question correctly, you get to spin the wheel. Those that land on the Go Big slice of the pie will win a piece of free artwork. So let's see what we can do here. Let's see if we can get some people in. We're gonna do some spinning of the wheel. So we're gonna do live trivia. I tried to get my good camera going tonight so you guys would have some good audio and some good visual. But for some reason, when you try to use a good camera, they don't feed this out to the shorts feed. So I tried to get my camera settings so it would set it out to, I know there's a way to do it, I just gotta figure it out. So what I was wanting to do, because when I do that, I can monitor everything on my laptop. And I am hooked in right now live on with my good camera, but it's not on the shorts feed. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to figure out a way around that. James Mello, hey, welcome to the live. We'll get going here in a bit once we get a few people into the room. We're gonna do trivia tonight, and how it works is if you get an answer correctly, you get to spin the wheel for a piece of free art. And at the end of the live, whoever's here, Brazil, yeah, too bad you're so far away because we're doing shipping only to the US only. Are you a biker? Absolutely. Yeah, I've been a biker most of my life. We can talk about that. Matter of fact, we got a little project going. Hey, Marianne Mason, welcome to the live. We're gonna get going here shortly. We'll do a little yakety yak and then we'll get going. But what I was gonna tell everybody, as we're doing the trivia tonight, if you get an answer, Levi, hi. Lisa Miller, hi, how are you doing? Welcome to the live. So what we're doing is, if you get a correct answer to a question, you get to spin a wheel. If you land on Go Big Garage, you're gonna win a piece of artwork. Damien, how you doing? Hello, how you doing? Welcome to the live. We'll get going here shortly. You sub. Thank you for the sub. So I appreciate that so much. And I'll tell you what I'm a little late tonight. What I was trying to do, and I'm going to have to move this phone onto a better mount. What I was trying to do, yeah, Santa Claus is real, baby. You betcha. I'm going to write your name down right now. Yeah, when Santa, we'll remember that when it's time for Santa to bring you something. You look so, you got to be related to Fred Durst. You look so familiar. I hear that a lot, that I look like different people. It's crazy. But anyway, I was trying to get the good camera going tonight because I have a really good camera. What do I do for a living? I've been a mechanic for 40 years and I still work part-time as a mechanic. I work for a government agency and I build police cars for a living. So I do a lot of electro. I am almost done. Almost there. Oh my God. IMS Damien, bro, welcome. What do you do for a living? God bless you. God bless you back. My body is a mechanic. Okay, yeah. My body's after 40 years, it feels like it. 40 years of bending over, I kill you. Almost killed me. Anyway, so we'll yakety yak about different things tonight. You are so nice. Thanks, Ella Thomas. I appreciate you saying that. Toyota or Honda, Toyota or Honda. If I was gonna work on it, it'd be a Toyota. If I was gonna buy one and have somebody else work on it, it'd be a Honda. What's inappropriate? I don't know what's appropriate. I didn't know. Okay. So anyhow, I'm kind of in the middle of mess right here because I'm logged on to my YouTube account with my laptop, but it wouldn't feed this out to the live. So I was thinking maybe it's nice to have a laptop right here because I can see the comments better. But you know what? I think I'm just gonna shut down the good camera. I'll show you guys what I got going on, so you know what I'm talking about. You don't think I'm crazy. So I got this logged on, and I have my nice camera and all my lighting all set up because it gives you, it looks nice in here. You know, when you do that. So, you know, I have my Sony ZV-1F, and it just gives a really nice picture. But for some reason, when you hook this to the live through the laptop, it doesn't, can you say Bob, please, sir? Absolutely. Welcome to the room, Bob. Appreciate you being here. Give me a shout out. You know, I'm learning this. Hang on there, Aliar. I'm learning how to do these pin things. So I can give you guys a shout out. Aliar, welcome to the room. Welcome. Easy Art. Easy Art, welcome to the room. Sir Pancake, welcome to the room. Damien. Anyway, welcome all you guys that are here. Can you give me a shout out? I absolutely did. And there's a way to pin you guys like that. So anyway, I'm going to work on that. I'm still working on, anyway, I'll show you all this stuff. So here's the project. We're going to be doing a live on this. This is my, you can't see all this. I give you an idea what my background, all this stuff looks like. So we're going to be doing this as a live project. I'm going to start tearing this into this thing. This was a little pocket bike that I took in on a trade from a Harley that I bought, that I sold. And so it's got a Predator 212cc motor in it. So I just thought this would be a great little project for people to see. Like if you don't have a lot of cash and you want to get a little project going, this is a great project to do with your son or daughter or your grandkids that are around the 10-year-old age. And you can pick these up for a couple $100. And so I hope you become better at YouTube, and I hope you get a play button. And hey, I appreciate you saying that. You know, the lives. We actually on the channel we had a video really do well. It's at 200 and it's almost 250,000 views. But it just kind of went flat after that. So we do have a video. The channel itself is approaching 500,000 views. So we're pretty happy. Yeah, it does look like a ruckus. It's called a Blitz. So it's kind of wide frame. It's got like a wide front end on it. And my plan is, I think, Aliar, welcome to the room. Oh, I already shouted you out. Anyway, you got another shout out. You got a freebie. So this thing right here, we're going to get going the live for those of you that want to do the live and do the trivia tonight. But this thing I took in on a trade, and I'm going to pull this motor out, and we're going to completely paint it, sand it, paint the wheels. I'm going to put some flames on it, or you will be permanently banned. I've seen these before. People just post these, I think. So I'm not sure what that's about. If you guys see this thing that says urgent notice, warning, end stream within 30, yeah, it's spam. I dealt with that before. And you know, that really hurts people. It doesn't hurt me as much, but there's people that, you know, really rely on these lives for their, let me get rid of this cord, you know, for their livelihood. You know, people, and that hurts when people do that. There's no reason for it. Freaky music. Welcome to the room. Hopefully we can get enough people to stay into the room tonight because we're gonna start the trivia. So let me get this camera put up on my boom arm because it makes it easier in here. And I was just curious. So I'm just leaving this live running. and there's like no one in here after 17 minutes. So when you use a good camera, it doesn't pump it out to the live feeds. Here, I'll show you guys what the wheel looks like so we can get going on that. There's the wheel. See how it says go big? If you get an answer right, we're gonna spin this wheel. If it lands on go big, you're gonna win a piece of art. I'll show you guys the artwork real quick. I'm just gonna keep going. I know it's nice when we get like 20, 30 people in here because it makes it more fun with the trivia. This is pour art that I do. I do it as a hobby, and then we give these away. We send these out free of charge. And actually, Scout was here last week, and she won one. She got hers, and she was really happy with it. So I appreciate her being there. Unboxing videos. Can you put Opal, please? Opal, like just write Opal? Like you're shouting out a friend or something? What do you mean? So here's a couple different ones. Yeah, we appreciate the follows for sure, man. That's what it's about. We're trying to get, like everybody else, everybody's trying to get followers and create we're trying to create a community here. And I bring something that I'm offering for free, and that is my knowledge and my ability to teach automotive repair. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing auto repair for 40 years. I've been a part of a fleet. Anyway, I'm kind of losing people in the room. Let's get going so we can get something going. Okay. I'll flip you around right here. I'm getting my boom arm set up. I'm sorry it kind of taken so long, but I had a plan tonight to use a really good camera I have, and it just didn't work out with YouTube's platform. It doesn't like the cameras like that because what it does is where's my other piece at? Hang on a second. I need my hang on, I hate this sound, it looks silly, but I left my ball head in here. I think. What did I do with it? Where did I do? Oh, there it is. Yeah. I tell you, if you do any kind of filming, and if you're a creator or you do any kind of video, man, look into getting a Ulanzi ball head. They're great. This is what it looks like. And it has a quick connect on the top of it. So you can take the camera on and off and you can just put it on your other stuff. Like if you want to move that from there to the tripod, it just two quick little connections and it comes off. Even if you're not doing video, if you're just doing stuff for at home, and they're really cheap, man. They're like $40. This thing is top quality. It's just the head part though. I don't mean to be dragging my feet on doing the trivia, but I had planned on having this where we could use this better camera, and it just didn't work out that way. So what I'm doing right now is getting this ball head on my boom arm so I can sit down and it's easy to do everything. Can you guys hear me all right? That was the thing. I was trying to get this better camera set up because it has a really good audio on it. And it has a better video, it has a better picture. We'll work on that. We'll get that part figured out. But for now, we'll just get this thing going. I'll just go ahead and mount this camera on my boom. And I can pull it to me. I can adjust it. It makes it real easy when we're doing the live. Anyway. So we got a couple different big projects going on at Go Big Garage right now. I just bought a 92 OBS 7.3 diesel that didn't run. So that's a project we're working on right now. We got it running. I bought it from a guy, and when I bought it, let's see if this is gonna work okay. Yeah, that'll work pretty good. When I bought the Ford, let me shut this thing down because it's not doing nothing. We didn't get anybody in that, so Yeah, there's something going. I got to figure out the laptop part of the YouTube. It's kind of confusing because I just want to use a really good camera so I can give you guys a good. Let me turn this other light on. When it comes to video, man, lighting is everything, you know. And so it's nice to have some background lighting. And let me adjust this. That's what's nice about this boom is it's just really adjustable, and you can, it's like. It's nothing worse than having somebody just fumble with something while you're trying to do live. I apologize for that. We get going here though. But I was trying to get that on the really good. Oh, let's talk about the USB real quick. Let me shut this other camera down. I'll just leave it run. Ain't gonna hurt nothing. I'll just use it as B-roll. Let me move it. I'm gonna move this up a little closer so we get some B-roll out of this tonight. And what B-roll is, I don't know if you're not in the video, but I've kind of become a content creator. And so what B-roll is it allows you to like fill in little snippets of video while when you're making a video. Like you need add a little something to it. So B-roll allows you to do that. And we can cut this up and turn this into a video and load it as a video as well. So anyway, some people may not be interested in that. I get that. So anyway, the IDI, so we bought that Ford, and the Ford's a 92 non-computer controlled, fuel injected 7.3. Man, I just love those motors. That motor will last forever, So that's one of our projects we have going. And now we're gonna start a live with this pocket bike. So every time I work on this pocket bike, I'm gonna put it up on this table right here. And we're gonna put nice lighting on it, and we're gonna do lives of what we're doing. And we're gonna tear the whole thing down, paint it, put flames on it. I'm gonna put like a fake tank on it and try to make it look like a little Harley. And we're gonna do, the kid I'm gonna give it to is, he really likes my Harley. So I'm gonna build it and make it look like an old Harley. I might even put some little saddlebags on it. Yeah, I wanna see that bike. Yeah, it's right here. I showed it earlier, but let me flip this around. So this is it's called a Blitz, and it has a modified 212 cc Predator motor in it. And so I'm gonna pull everything out of this thing, and we're gonna do some modifications to it. I thought it'd be a fun live to do, because you guys, if somebody doesn't know anything about automotive or they don't have a lot of cash, you can have a nice little project like this with your grandson or granddaughter or your son or daughter. Yeah, it does look like the old Ruckuses. They're kind of fun though. I was a little surprised though today when I looked up the Predators. You can buy those little Predator motors for brand new for 180 bucks. And then they got all kinds of modified parts for them. You can get like updated heads and exhausts and everything you can think of. So they're kind of a neat little project, because now it's so expensive to get a hot rod project going. For a lot of people, they just can't afford to do it. Says, yeah, I saw it looks like they're, but I mean, if you're going to make content on it, that'd be cool to see. Yeah, so we're going to do that. And the reason, that's why I drug it in here tonight, because I wanted you guys to see it in the background. And that's why I wanted to use my good camera, so people will get interest knowing, hey, what's going on with the bike over there. And so it's going to go up on the table, and every time we do that, we're gonna have a live. So I'm not sure on a schedule yet. I'm thinking like one night a week, like, after 6, after everybody gets home from work or something. So yeah, Ella Thomas, welcome. 67. What? I'm not sure what 67. What? So anyway, we just got the background done here in the last couple of days. So I mounted up. I did some background lighting, and I mounted some metal to the walls. The metal's kind of nice because now what we can do, we can hang anything on there with magnets. So we can move stuff around real easy. We don't have to keep drilling holes, and makes it a big pain. I'm gonna hang a bunch of automotive stuff on the wall here, like wrenches and more automotive related. And I got a good idea. So I got an old Harley fender I'm gonna bring in and put up here on the top. And then I got a really cool idea. I have the original running boards that I pulled off that old Ford OBS, and they got bent when we loaded it on the trailer. So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take them, I'm gonna cut them into like 3-foot lengths, and I'm gonna make some cool shelves to hang on the wall that are old Ford OBS pickup shelves. So anyway, okay, enough of that stuff. How's everybody doing? Anything exciting going on? Did you build something? Something break down on you this week? What's going on? Anything we need to talk about before we get going on the live? We'll get going on the trivia. One thing I didn't think of is that I need my phone for the. Let's see if you guys do me a favor and let me know if oh, a 120-gallon saltwater tank. That's awesome. My brother used to be into that, and man, he had a ton of money in his fish. He'd go down and buy fish. There'd be like $100 a piece. He had a lot of money wrapped up in his tank. Yeah. Jay Anderson. Yeah, that is exciting. When you have a little hobby and you're able to spend a little money and build something, it's cool. This room we're in right here, right now, I wish I'd have kept going, and I did, and I was busy working, and I was trying to run a business, but I was really into reptiles. And I was into reptiles, and I had a crazy collection of reptiles. This room had 40 reptiles in it. I had cages, and I had just everything you could think of. I was really into ball pythons, and I was a breeder, so I was breeding them and stuff. And I had a YouTube channel back in the day, and it's still up and running. It's called West Coast Pythons. But I lost my login stuff, so I can't even get in it. But I can see them. I can still view, my old videos. But I used to. I wish I would have stayed doing that, because that was the glory days of YouTube. Back then, if you would have kept that channel's 20 years old now. If I would have stayed after that, I probably would be retired doing YouTube now. Because the people that were in the business at the time that were friends of mine, they're just killing it. Because, it takes 5 years really to develop a really good YouTube channel. So anyway. That's what we're doing with Go Big Garage, but we're trying to bring something to our community. We're trying to build a community here, so if you guys would, please subscribe and share the live and stuff, because that's what we're really trying to do. We want to give, a lot of money in ball pythons. I knew some of the top breeders in the country. They were friends of mine, so I used to get really good deals on high-end stuff, and I had some snakes that were like, you can't even get them anymore. I had some boas that came from Venezuela, and they're probably worth $1,000 a piece now, because you can't get them. They stopped allowing any kind of importing out of Venezuela for good reason. But my buddy, he used to own a big reptile shop, and I got a pair from him, a breeding pair, and I ended up selling them. And man, I kicked myself for getting rid of those things. I should have kept them. It was really a fun project. Yeah, that is a bummer, But you know what? I didn't see what was coming. Back then, I didn't realize how new YouTube was. YouTube was just on its infant stages when I started my channel. And I started doing contests and giving away snakes, and I really think if I would have stayed in that industry until now, I would have made a ton of money on it. There was a guy by the name of Graziani, and he developed the first pastel ball python, and he was a motorcycle officer. And somebody interviewed him. They said, "How did you know when you wanted to quit your job and go full time just doing reptiles?" And he said, when a guy in the elevator one time offered me $30,000 for a snake, and he goes, that was half of my wages for the year. And he goes, that's when I made a decision to stop working and did reptiles full time. And that guy ended up selling 1.8 mil in 1 year because he was the one that developed the pastel. His name was Graziani. So anyway, there's a little bit of useless information for you to keep in your little hat for the rest of your life. Anyway, so I've been a mechanic for 40 years, so that's why I'm doing the Go Big Garage thing, and we're trying to just give good content to people, give good, just give some value. We're teaching automotive. We're not teaching automotive tonight. We're just gonna do a trivia type thing. So if you guys would, I'm gonna switch over to and make sure that I can get to something on my phone. Let me know if the video goes away. What are you into vehicle-wise? Right now, vehicle-wise, I have a 1971 C30 Chevy pickup. I got a couple Harleys, and I got that IDI that I'm doing right now, which is a Ford OBS vehicle. And so we're trying to just keep I drive a 95 F-150. Actually, I got a 99 F-150 with a 5.4 in it. Man, that's been a good truck. I bought it with 136,000 miles on it, and it's just a nice truck. I never have any problems with it. It's comfortable. It's like sitting on the couch. I've driven that thing to Arizona 3 or 4 times and never had a single problem with it. So, that 5.4 is a good motor. Bubble body, yeah, that's the way mine is too. The 99, I have a 99, so it's pretty cool. Anyway, kind of losing people in the chat tonight. I was hoping we could keep enough people in here to do the trivia. And see where it goes. We're gonna kind of just drag our feet. I don't know if this thing's really. You got the square body. Yeah, I didn't realize. So I worked for a county agency for years. I worked there for 25 years, and I actually retired at 55. And so I've worked on a lot of those OBS style 7.3s. And at the time, I used to hate those things because I always thought they were dogs. I was like, these things are such junk. You know what? It took me a long time to realize those 7.3s are probably the best motor that Ford has ever built. I'm trying to talk so people come in. Hey, I appreciate you doing that, Jay Anderson. I appreciate that for sure. It helps a lot. Yeah, you're right. When people leave comments and stuff, it really helps a lot. So anyway, so that I worked on a lot of those OBSs, and they're just a great truck. And we're doing we're documenting that build. So right now, so far, I put a starter in it. I put some glow plugs in it, and I bypassed the fuel tank because it had been sitting there for 10 years. But we got it fired up and running. The thing sounds great. So we're gonna do modifications to the exhaust and all that stuff. So anyway, so we're 28 minutes in and we haven't done one question. So let me see if I can get to a. Let me know if the video goes away when I'm doing this. Let's see. Can I go that way? Let's see if I can. So I'm gonna pause this for just a second or two and tell me if the video goes away, because I don't know if it is or not. So do you lose video when I do that? So it's staying. I'm a little reluctant to keep moving that way. I'm gonna do this one more time just to, video is good. I'm gonna try it and give it 30 seconds and make sure it doesn't log me out. I gotta go get to some content that's on my phone. So you didn't lose video at all the whole time. I just want to make sure so I don't. Yeah, I just lost everybody. It looks like. So it lost video, didn't it? for just a little bit. Jay Anderson, if you're still in here, let me know. Did the video go away? What a pain, huh? I wish that these programs worked a little bit better. Sometimes, I don't know, kind of sketchy. So it shows 4 people in the room. So I'm just going to go ahead and start the trivia. And hopefully we get enough people in the room so we can have a good trivia tonight. Because we're going to give away a Snap-on wrench. Cool Channel, it's got that. Hey, I appreciate your comment, 4748. So what we're gonna do, I think I lost a bunch of people because I moved around. I think I lost the feed for a minute because I was moving around on some of this, a different program. I think I might have lost the feed for a bit. So we'll see if we get some, we'll start the trivia. We're gonna do trivia questions. And then if you guys would, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. We're gonna do trivia questions. I'm just gonna do off the top of my head trivia questions. That'll be easy enough. So I had a big list written down, but they're on a different area of my phone. It seems like every time I go there, I'm losing the video feed. So we got 7 people. So the deal is tonight, what we're gonna do trivia. If you get a question right, you get to spin the wheel. If you land on Go Big Garage, you're gonna win one of these. And then free of charge, free shipping within the United States. So if you land on Go Big Garage after you were the first one to answer the question correctly, you'll win one of these. But at the end of the live, we're gonna not auction. I don't mean to say auction. At the end of the live, we're gonna give away a Snap-on wrench. So stick around because at the end, we're gonna spin for a wrench. And we've given away 2 of these now, and people have been really happy with them. This is Spin Art. It's done on a nice canvas. I do these as a hobby. So, but they're kind of cool. I got a couple different ones. I got that one. I got 6 or 8 done. I did one on a live last night. Oh yeah, and then we got this. Okay. CBM Secret said hi. Hello, welcome to the room. We lost a big part of our audience tonight because I had a problem with the video. I tried to use my other camera and it just didn't go well and I had to log out. So we lost a big part of the audience tonight. I'll give you some background on me. I'm a technician. I've been an automotive technician for 40 years and now I'm a content creator. So I create content for automotive. And so we're just trying to build a community here, and just want to encourage everybody. If you don't know a lot about automotive, don't feel like you're in the wrong place because everybody starts at a beginner's level. I started at the beginner's level as well, so we can teach you, bring you up to speed on stuff, and we're going to give away tools. We're going to give away some pretty cool tools. We're trying to drive the participation up in the room so we can give away some better, nicer quality tools. Next week, if I can promote this enough and get enough people in the room, I'm going to give away a NoCo Genius 1 battery charger. They're about 30, 40 bucks. So, and they're a nice battery charger. And actually we'll put some links. I really like them. If you guys are interested, I can go over that battery charger. And I don't promote products that I don't believe in. So usually when I'm promoting a product on the channel, it's because I've tested it and it works well and it's a good product. That's the only reason why I promote them. So anyway, maybe we'll start the trivia. I was hoping we'd get like 20 people in here because it's helpful if you at least get 10. So you can get enough people so it makes it more fun for everybody. But anyway, we'll start tonight. So first person to answer the question gets to spin the wheel for a piece of artwork. And these are original artworks. I didn't buy these. These were made by me. And there's some pretty cool ones. So we're going to do a question. If you get the question right, you get to spin the wheel. If you land on Go Big Garage, you're going to win a piece of artwork. So what is the most common tire pressure on a passenger car? What is the most common tire pressure on a passenger car? I know there's different specs, but what is the one that people use a lot for is kind of a rule of thumb with passenger car tires? How many PSI? First person to answer closest is going to spin a wheel for a piece of artwork. We got 2 people in the room. Any guesses? First question. What does the abbreviation TBI stand for in fuel injection? What does TBI stand for in fuel injection? First answer gets to spin the wheel for a piece of artwork. If we can keep enough people in the channel at the hour mark, we're going to spin for a snap-on wrench. So what does TBI stand for in fuel injection? Anybody got any ideas? Got 5 people in the room. What is TBI? What is the TBI abbreviation for in a fuel injection car? I'm going to wait just a bit. If we don't get any, I'm going to give you the answers. That way you get to learn something as you walk through these questions tonight. TBI stands for throttle body fuel injection. TBI, throttle body fuel injection. What is a TPS? These are just abbreviations, and we'll make them simpler as we go. That way everybody has a chance to answer the question. What is a TPS? What does TPS stand for? These are kind of like computer controlled questions. What is TPS on a vehicle? See, if you were here last week, you would know the answer to this. I wanted to see how many people was here from last week. We had a pretty good turnout last week. Really good turnout. TPS stands for throttle position sensor. Okay, this is going to be an easy one. So get ready. The first answer is going to spin the wheel. On your vehicle, hi Blocks Cars. How's it doing? How you doing? Welcome to the live. We're doing trivia. If you get the answer right, you get to spin the wheel for a piece of art. We're giving away a snap-on wrench later tonight at the end of the live. And we're trying to make the questions a little easier so everybody can participate. On your vehicle, what component is responsible for charging the battery? First answer. What component is responsible for charging the battery on your vehicle? First answer spins for a piece of artwork. What is responsible for charging your vehicle's battery as you're driving down the road? What charges the battery up? We got 5 people in the room. We kind of messed up tonight. It's kind of my fault. I tried to use my other camera and we had an issue, and it wasn't. They don't send the feed out to the shorts feed when you use a good camera. You have to use a phone, or it doesn't get pumped out to the shorts feed. If you guys aren't subscribed, subscribe. We post a lot of videos about automotive and automotive care and little different projects and stuff. So on an automotive charging system, what component is responsible for charging the battery? First answer spins the wheel for a piece of artwork. A piece of artwork? How many people give away artwork like this for free? All you gotta do is answer the question correctly, and this comes to your house free of charge. Looks like everybody's really, we might want us to do this on Saturday nights, because Saturday night was really good. And I think a lot of people are just getting home on a Friday night, eating dinner and trying to relax from a long week of work, you know. So anyway, I'll try to get the other camera thing figured out. And then the live that we're gonna do that's gonna be cool. And I really wanted to like spin for some things tonight, but I think if we don't have enough people in the room, it's gonna be pretty tough. And we have a cool project coming up, so I'm gonna build this little pit bike. I bought this little pit bike, and I'm gonna tear it all down. It's got a 212cc motor in it, so we're gonna pull that motor out, and we're gonna repaint everything, and we're gonna try to make it look like a little Harley. Give it some, maybe build some little side bags for it, and put a fuel tank on it, and just try to make it look cool. So we'll paint it up nice, put some flames on it. I'm thinking about putting some lighting on it too. Sounds like a cool project. Ace, hey, welcome to the room. Yeah, I think it is gonna be. I've been trying to get people to stay in the room. It's kind of tough tonight. I kind of messed up with my camera tonight, so we lost a big part of our audience. So this is it. It's called a Blitz, and it's got a 212cc Predator motor in it. And so I'm gonna pull this thing. I'm gonna pull it all apart and repaint everything, and do some like pinstriping on it, and put some flames on the back. And I'm thinking about taking the seat off and cutting it in half, and then do some like little saddlebags back there. I'm not sure yet. I think, what color are you thinking? I was thinking black, but I'm gonna give it to a 10-year-old kid, so that's not a good color for safety. So I'm thinking either like I like this red, but it's not bright enough for me. I'm thinking like a bright red, or a lime green would look cool. I thought about doing black with lime green, because that's kind of our theme around here. But I was thinking maybe black with lime green stripes on it, or something like that. My Harley's red, and it's got some cool stripes on it. So anyway, I thought about putting a battery pack on it. Or you can just plug in a little battery tender too, and green metal flake. Yeah, that'd look hot, huh? Dark green with a metal flake. That'd look pretty cool. I like dark green anyway. I like dark green. It's a good color. A dark purple looks good too, like a cherry purple, like almost black but purple. That looks pretty cool. But I'm thinking about putting a little battery on the front of it. Yeah, Ed Roth vibes for sure. Yeah. I thought about putting a little battery pack on it and put some cool lighting on it. Like put some really nice LEDs up front for a headlight, and maybe a rear light, so it's just really safe for the kid to drive. I'm probably gonna pull this 212 out of this frame and put a smaller motor in it. And then what I'm thinking about doing is taking this 212 and building a go-kart for the adults around here. Jack it up kind of high, like kind of a four-wheel drive looking thing, and put those 212 motors, man, I'm telling you what, they're no slouch. I seen a guy that built a flat bottom boat, and he did it with one of these 212s, and then he just put like a little 3-inch um, pump on it, like a Berkeley pump, but it was a little 3-inch. And man, that thing would fly. And it just had a single 212 on there, and it do like 28 miles an hour, and it would go through 3 inches of water. So I thought that'd be a cool project. But then I thought, you know what? Nobody will get to use it unless we're going up to the lake or something. So I'm thinking like a really tall, like not a real tall where it tip over, but kind of a tall, give it some ground clearance and build a little go-kart, and with some ground clearance, and update the brakes a little bit, put some good, disc brakes on it, and put that 212 on there. This thing right now, I went out today and I throttled it, it pulled the wheels off the ground. Man, it'll do a wheelie like that. I mean, it's amazing how much power um, those little 212s have on them. And you know what? That's why I did this. I'm wanting to teach people that if you've never wrenched before, we're losing all these skills. These young kids don't know anything about how to do anything. And we're losing that, and we really need to get back to our roots and teach our children how to do things, how to have skills, how to weld, how to how to put a set of heads on a car and torque them. I did all that stuff as a kid. So this right here is a cool project because I was thinking, you have fathers out there that maybe not have a lot of tools, and they could pick one of these up for a couple $100, and you can buy these Predator motors for $180 brand new. So you could build a nice little go-kart or a mini bike for $500, and and honestly, if you buy one of these that's, and it's beat up, it's been sitting outside, you can just do the cleanup work on it and make it a neat project. You don't have to spend a bunch of money. Pull it all apart, clean it, sand it down, paint it, paint the wheels up, put a new chain on it, and you can make a neat little project out of these little mini bike. It was always a childhood dream for me, man. I wanted a mini bike every year. I wanted a mini bike, and I never got one. So I'm kind of living out my childhood dream right here. That I traded this. Hello, Crunch. How you doing? I actually got this on a trade. So I traded I sold my Harley, one of my Harleys. I have three. I sold the Road King, and the guy didn't have enough money, so I took this in on trade for the Road King. So I got $400. I got $400 worth of trade into this thing. So let's remove this thing. I'm learning all this stuff about the lives. It takes a little time. I'm okay. Yeah, me too. I did a bunch of running around today, and then I launched a video. I did a real quick short on this thing to let people know our new project, on the channel. And then I moved some tables around. I was trying to get this. I was gonna put the mini bike up on the table for tonight, but it was kind of in the way. And then I messed with the software, trying to get my good camera. Are you new to YouTube? I'm not. I've been on YouTube for a while. I just started doing the lives for the Go Big channel. We actually had a video that got 270,000 views now, so almost a 250,000 views on one of our videos. But we weren't ready when it happened, and we should have had more videos stacked up ready to launch, So and I did YouTube years ago, like 20 years ago, and about 20 years ago I did YouTube, and I had a big reptile collection, and then I stopped, and I wish I would have stayed doing it, but it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of skills you have to learn with YouTube. You got to learn how to video, good quality audio and video. You got to learn how to edit. You have to learn how to do really good thumbnails. In '05, I don't know. I don't think so. Look it up, because I was on YouTube. It had to be, I know it was after '05. So let's see, has it only been 20 years? Maybe it was. I just know that we were on YouTube. I can look it up because the channel's still there. It's called West Coast Pythons. We did reptile stuff. So maybe it was like the '05. It might have been. It was 20, yeah, it was 20 years ago when we had the, with, a lot of people say that. A lot of people say I look like this person. Or some guy said I look like some kind of UFC fighter guy. He goes, you got to look up this guy. You look just like him. And people come in here and all the time say, you look like this guy and go check it out. So I look like, I look like a lot of people, which is kind of scary. I'm always afraid I'm going to go to jail for something I didn't do, But maybe I did do it, but I don't know. You need to eat more fruit. Well, I'm 60. I'll be 61 in about a week. And I'm pretty tough, I don't know who Joshua Saunders is. So maybe I could be a stand-in for all these rich people that are on TV, huh? AKA King Color something. Yeah. Yeah, I look like a lot of people for some reason. No, I'm 60. I'm gonna be 61 in a few days. So I still do quite a bit, man. I get out there and ranch, and I ride motorcycle. I rode my Harley across the desert a couple of years ago. Was it a year ago? 2 years ago. I rode my Harley from here to Arizona across the Tehachapi's in May. You ever rode across the Tehachapi's in May? Go try that. Go try that, Tehachapi's in May. It's pretty cold. I barely made it over to Tehachapi's. And coming back home, I was worried I was going to get stuck in Kingman because I went to Kingman, Arizona with at my daughter's house for Thanksgiving. And I was worried that when I came back, I was going to get stuck in the snow. Thanks for saying that, Crunch. Yeah. This mechanic will keep you young because you're always wrenching and bending over and picking up stuff. So it does keep you young, I think. Keeps your mind. And I've done drivability for a lot of years, so I do high-end technical work. So you in Texas? No, I'm in California. I'm in Northern California. But I rode from California up across the Tehachapi's to Kingman and back no, it wasn't May. I'm sorry, I said May. It was in November. So November, I went across the Tehachapi's on my Harley by myself. Rode across that night. Went across the Tehachapi's. So if you ever get a chance to go ride out by yourself, man, go try it. It's a little different about being out there by yourself. So much. It just seems so much more freedom and just peaceful to be out there riding across the desert at night. So anyway, I did that, and I was worried about I was going to get stuck in the snow coming back because we were getting some weather. And I told my daughter, I said, you know what, I better leave tomorrow because there's some weather coming. I don't want to get stuck. And so they closed the pass right behind me. As I went through the Tehachapi's, it was starting to spit, slush, and they closed the pass that day. So I made it home just in time to beat the weather back. But I went there and back and didn't get wet and didn't get stuck nowhere. So I did it. Drive from California to the Tehachapi's in November. Ain't an easy deal. I'm a sole semi-driver, so I kind of understand the feeling you're talking about. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. When you're out there by yourself and you're just you out there and you're just, it's something about that. I don't know. It's just a real freedom feeling of being out there doing that. And riding for me is my peace. I went through a little bit of a tragedy a couple years ago. I lost my wife of pancreatic cancer. We were married for almost 40 years. And so my bike saved my life. Me being out there riding put me in a good space. You know, without my bike, I think I would have been in trouble. Because, you know, it's just something you don't plan for that kind of stuff in life. And then when it happens, you know, you're kind of shocked about what to do with your life. That was me, you know, I was like, I had to reinvent my life, you know. So YouTube is part of that. Damn, sorry, yeah, just music, road, nature is great. Yeah, the music is amazing. You know, when I ride on my bike, I put my earpods in, my AirPods in, and I just crank music, man, while I'm riding. I just, you know, I can ride for hours. I rode out to Arizona a couple times straight through, 12 hours straight. Just stop to get fuel and go. You know, I got a buddy that lives in Montana, so I'm gonna do that probably next May. I got some time whittled away to do that, and I'm gonna ride to Montana and back around May. Go out there and stay a week or so. And I'm sorry the live didn't go the way I wanted it to tonight. We were gonna do trivia, but I had to shut the live down because of my camera situation, and we lost a big part of our audience. And so, anyway, at about the hour and 15 mark, whoever's here in the channel, I'm gonna spin this wheel a couple times for a piece of art. And so this doesn't cost you anything if you're inside the United States. This is poor art that I do. It just keeps my mind right. And there's a couple different ones. Anyway, I'll let you guys decide. So, and I do them on canvas. So, but anyway, if you win tonight, so there's one part on the wheel that that says "Go Big" on it, and if you land on that, you win a piece of artwork. And that's how the trivia lives work. Is you come in, we ask questions. The first person to answer the question gets to spin the wheel for a piece of artwork like this. If you win, it costs you nothing. I send it to you. I pay for the shipping. And then at the end of the live tonight, we are giving away a Snap-on wrench. You know, but we just struggled to keep 2 or 3 people in the room tonight. So in the camping, but yeah, cross country on a bike, camping along the way. Chef's kiss. Yeah, you know what? I thought about doing that because I've always wanted to do that. So I'll give you some background. When I run around guys over the years that ride Harleys, and they all got these brand new, you know, touch screen, heated gloves, you know, Bluetooth, this and that. And I got this old 91 Electric Glide that's carbureted, you know, and I always give them crap about it. I was like, so, you know, what do you do when that thing breaks down? Do you like get on the internet and figure it out with your phone, or how do you fix your bike? So I'm always giving them crap about that, you know. And but I've always wanted to do my uncles. This is how my uncles were bikers, man. I don't even consider myself a real biker because my uncles were hardcore freaking bikers, man. They didn't play, you know. These guys would go on a run across the desert with an old rat rod motorcycle with a Levi cutoffs and Levi's and a bedroll. And these guys would go cross country like that, man. They'd ride through the rain. They didn't have windshields on their bikes and nice soft seats to sit on and all that, you know. So my uncles, man, they were true bikers, man. They were tough. They were tougher than I am, you know. Sounds like an awesome time. Yeah, and that's what I kind of want to do that. I thought about, you know what? And maybe I'll incorporate that into the channel. If we can get enough guys together that would say, hey, you know what? I want to do that. And ride across, do a 3-day ride on old style. No cell phones, bring your wrenches, bring your bedroll, you know, no calling and getting a room ahead of time. I mean, I'm talking about old school biker riding. Take your bedroll out, take your tarp out, pull it out across your bike so you can stay warm, and spend about a week out there like the old guys used to do. Because I'm sorry to hear that. Real West, man. You know what, man? Hang in there, dude. Because I'll tell you something. My wife she used to suffer from cluster headaches. I don't know if you know what those are, but they used to call them suicide headaches. And I know what pain is all about. And man, it is no fun to be in that kind of pain. You know, at least you had surgery on Monday. What'd you have surgery for? What'd you have surgery for, Real West, man? I have chronic pain, so I know what you're talking about. I have chronic pain in my lower back I've had because I've been a mechanic for 40 years. So I know what that's all about. And the pain meds they give you now, man, you don't want to be dealing with those things. You know, they take away the pain, but they turn you into somebody that you won't even recognize in the mirror, you know. The pain medications are not a good deal. I've seen so many of my friends, mechanic. What do you mean mechanic? Am I a mechanic? Yes, I've been a mechanic for 40 years. So they removed it. Ah, man, that's got to be painful. So do they give you a recovery time? Like you're looking at a certain amount of time to be in pain, or? You know, my wife went through that. I don't know how she made it through all that because the pain was crazy, the amount of pain. And sometimes music, I know it sounds crazy, but sometimes music can help you just relax a little bit. Do some slow breathing. Slow breathing can help. When you're in pain and you start and doing that, you know, your oxygen that you're bringing in increases the pain. So if you can slow breathe during hard bouts of pain, it is helpful. Yeah, man, I just had this left eye operated on. I had a detached retina in my left eye. One day I got up and my vision was just blurry. I was like, what the heck? And I thought it was my glasses. And I went to the eye doctor and I went in there and he goes, you know, if you would have came in, we could have done something with it early, but now it's torn. So I had to go in for emergency retina reattachment on my eye. And man, that was no fun. You gotta be like this. It's face down in a bed. You can't move your head. You can't move it side to side. You gotta be like this. And you can only get up for like an hour a day looking forward. That was like 8 months ago in my left eye. And now I went just the other day because I noticed my vision's looking blurry again. And they told me when they did the surgery, you're going to get a cataract within a year that you'll have to have removed. Good evil. It is satisfying work. It is. And it's, you know, it's not bad. Right now is a good time to get into it because there's good money to be made right now as a mechanic. When I was wrenching, you'd be lucky to make 50,000 a year. You know, a good mechanic. I mean, you have to be good at what you're doing, but I was good at what I did, and I made 50 grand a year. You could make 120 now. They're begging guys for 50, $60 an hour. You know, you doing good? Yeah, I am now. The eyes a lot better, but I got to go in to have that cataract removed now. I went in to see the doctor just yesterday, and he said, yep, that cataract is creating a problem. Because I thought they'd messed my glasses up because I was like, man, my eyes just one's good close, the other one's good far away. Neither one of them are good in both places. And he looked my eye over and he goes, yep. He goes, you're going to have to get that cataract removed. He said, it's not as big a deal as your other surgery. It'll be nothing. Wow, here that's too. I can't imagine that 3 eye stuff freaks me out. I'll be honest with you, the surgery was a breeze. They put me to sleep. I woke up, it was over. It's the after thing. Because what happens is this is crazy. I'm glad I didn't know this when they did it. What they do, they put you to sleep and they stick a needle in your eye and they suck all the fluid out of your eye. And then they put a gas bubble in there of nitrogen. They make a patch, so they fix it. and then they put this nitrogen bubble in there. And what the bubble does, it's like an internal bandage. It pushes on where they put the patch on it. So it's like it keeps pressure on there. But the bubble can move because it's liquid. So depending on where your repair was at, mine was lucky because mine was like on the bridge of my nose area, like over here. So because of that, when I laid on my side of my head, it put the bubble like that, which was good. So after about a week, they let me start laying on the left side of my face, which was great. Because man, I'll tell you what, that first 3 or 4 days laying like this in a bed, in a pillow, and you can't move your head. He goes, if you move your head around I'm telling you, he goes, you're gonna be back in surgery next week. He goes, this is serious. You gotta hold your head, fixed position, do not move your head around. So you couldn't sit up in a chair or nothing. You got face down in a bed for 3 days with your face in a pillow like this. And you couldn't do nothing. I could walk to the bathroom, but I couldn't look down or up. I had to look like this. Don't turn your head side to side like this. And then after I seen him the third day, he said, you can lay on your left side now and you can sit up for an hour a day. And the surgery was painless, and the first few days were pretty easy, but after all the drugs wore off, it's brutal. Yeah. You know what? Let me give you some advice on pains, okay? Because I have lower back pain, and they had me on opiates for about 4 years, and I just got off them. I don't want to take those things, man. I don't like what they do to you. I don't like what I've seen, what they've done to my friends, and I'm not taking them. You have to come up with another solution. So, yeah, I about went crazy, man. I'm not kidding you. I about went nuts. I really did. It wasn't for my girlfriend that I have, man. I would have been screwed. I really would have been. How do you cook for yourself when you're like this? You can't cook, you can't do shit, man. You know. So, but let me give you some advice on. I should have told you this earlier. What's really effective on pain, it's almost as good as a opiate type pain medication, is Tylenol with ibuprofen at the same time. Two Tylenol, 1,000 milligrams, and an ibuprofen, 800 milligram at the same time. And don't let your pain get out of control to where you're like in pain. Don't wait until you're hurting to take it again. You could only take that like 3 times a day like that, maybe even twice. Look at it, because there's a maximum amount of Tylenol you can take. But Tylenol mixed with ibuprofen together, and if you do them like do the Tylenol, then wait a couple hours, and then the ibuprofen, and then the Tylenol, it's pretty effective, because I have major pain in my back, and I do that 3 times a day. But now they got me on they have Tylenol Q, and I'm not even sure what that is. Yeah, you know what? It's true though. Try it, because it's not as good as, opiates will make you feel no pain. And you don't want that, because honestly, I think that's what happened with my wife. She was on those because she needed jaw surgery. And I think that the pain medication masked the fact that she had pancreatic cancer. Because when we got her off the pain meds after she had her jaw surgery, she started feeling a pain in her stomach, and they found out she had pancreatic cancer. And I think the pain medication masked all that, so she was stage 4 by the time they found out that she had it. Most people, when they find they have pancreatic cancer, are stage 4. There's no symptoms from it until it's like really bad. That's the key. I was spreading out my doses of Oxy and Tylenol. I waited too long. Apparently, I called the doctor, and they said take 2 Oxys. Yeah, you don't wait for your pain to get unbearable. Get ahead of it, because you want to stay ahead of your pain, because that's what can happen. Because then it takes such a long time for it to enter your system again, and but I don't recommend Oxys for long, man. I've seen what they do to people. I've seen people's lives destroyed, and they're very addictive, man. I'm not kidding you. They're hard to walk away from. People, I have had friends that ruin their lives, man. They just completely addicted. Yeah, they do work. That's a fact. They make the pain go away. I feel that way. Like they had me on going to a pain management thing, and I just stopped. I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do those freaking pills. But to be honest with you, this is what you got to do to get it now, because everybody, they've abused them. Is now if you want to stay in a pain medication type thing, you got to go to the doctor constantly, and then you got to go to these pain medication places, and you got to take a P test, and you got to stay in that loop to get your medications. I just wish they would give me like 2 a month, just so I could have a couple days without pain. There's days if I wish I could just not feel pain for a day, just one day that I didn't feel pain, because I've had like 4 MRIs. I just went and had another one done, and every time they do the MRI, they're like, well, we don't see anything wrong other than you got some, arthritis in your back. It ain't arthritis, man. I can hear the bones grinding when I bend over, and the pain gets to the point that I don't sleep, so I'm always up late. Sometimes you'll see me on these lives at like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep, so I figured, shit, might as well get up and do something, be productive. Don't want to sound contradictory, but I think doctors recommend opiates. Hopes you keep coming back to buy more. I think you're absolutely right. I think the federal government failed us 100,000% by telling people they're not addictive. They're absolutely addictive, and the federal government were the ones that were allowed people to get. That's why you have so many people strung out right now, because the addictions are so bad from this stuff. It's horrible, and a lot of people can't walk away from them, man. And they're destroying lives. And the big pharma made billions and trillions of dollars off of it. They should have to be paying these people back that they've destroyed their lives. I'm in pain again tomorrow, then I'm going to have to ask for more because I only have 5 left. Yeah, be careful about taking, here's what I would recommend. When you go to the doctor and you're out, they're not going to give you more. That's why they do that, and then you're in bad pain. You'd be better off to try to split them up and make them last longer. Cut them in half, just because. Yeah. Do you know what? Do you know what they're giving you as far as because there's a bunch of different ones. They got 325s, 500s, and so if you're on the lower level, you might tell them it's not helping you, because then you can cut them in half, and then you'll make it to your next doctor appointment. But at they're 5. Oh, they're oxys though. Okay, they have a 10, just so you know. My wife was on that when she had pancreatic cancer. So they have a 10. But they normally don't give them out unless you're in serious pain. The Barn Girl, hi. How you doing? We're just sitting here shooting a bull. We're talking about chronic pain. That's what happens when you're a mechanic for 40 years. You end up with chronic pain. So one of the things I found for my back situation is just try to be active as much as you can, even though, sometimes it's painful. Go walking, do some exercising and walking. You're in a situation right now where you're just healing up though. So once you get healed up, and not have to be taking pain medications, doing some walking's probably the best thing for you. I started doing that. I lost 40 pounds after I lost my wife because I just started walking every day because I was just lost. I didn't know what to do with my life. I was just like, I lost half of my income. That's kind of why I'm doing YouTube. I'm trying to generate income so I don't have to keep working. Right now I'm working part-time, part-year, but I'm going to be 61 in a few days. So when I turn 62, I'm going to go ahead and apply for my my Social Security, because I can. I'll make sure this thing's charged. I gotta grab my other cord. This thing's not charging like it's supposed to. When I turned 62, I was hoping I'd be able to generate enough income with the YouTube channel to where we could, create a little revenue with that. And it can be done. Give me a second. I want to plug in my other charger because my phone's looking like it's kind of low. Well, that's a bummer on your pain, man. I know what that's like. It's hard to be nice and be in a good mood when it feels like somebody's trying to rip your spine out. I used to get that because I used to work in a shop, and I still work in a shop, but I only work 2 days a week now, and I pretty much do just all electrical work, so it's not too bad on me. But when I was doing regular mechanicing work, I could be kind of an ass at times, because and people would say, how come you're so grumpy? I'd say, man, if you had somebody trying to rip your spine out all day, every day, you'd be grumpy too. Right on my groin, it's big. That's a bad spot to get pain too, man. I have what they call piriformis syndrome, and it puts pressure on my sciatic nerve. And so there's times it feels, I don't know how, the only way I can explain it, I explain it to the doctor is like, I got a toothache in my leg. It just goes, real bad pain, then it eases up, and real bad pain, it eases up. So I'm trying to do everything I can, like stretching, and there's different stretches and stuff you can do to help that. But man, take it easy, don't do too much. That's the thing about those pain meds too, I'm gonna tell you. Don't do too much because you can't feel that you're tearing stuff when you're under those kind of medications. There's a reason for pain. Pain is your body's way of telling you, hey, stop what you're doing, you're hurting me. And if you're on too heavy of pain medications, you will not know that you're hurting yourself, and I used to do that, man. I would go hard, doing projects and stuff and building stuff around the house, like getting up on the garage and doing the roof. And then 3 days later, man, I couldn't hardly walk, So if it was me, my recommendation to you, even though I know you're in some really bad pain, and pain is no fun, try to switch to ibuprofen and Tylenol as soon as you can. And take them together and don't wait. As soon as you feel anything, you got to look at Tylenol because there's a thing called Tylenol poisoning, and it'll shut down your kidneys. So when you're on Tylenol, you got to make sure, get one of those little things you put your medicine in so you know exactly what you've taken during that day. Because you don't want to go in there and go, man, did I take that or not? Because you don't want to take too much Tylenol. I had a sister-in-law that died from that. She died from Tylenol poisoning. And what it was, back then, the doctors would give you whatever. And she was going to all these different doctors and getting all kinds of prescriptions. And she took a prescription called Annexia that they give you at the dentist. And it's got a lot of Tylenol in it. And then afterwards, she took some Tylenol on top of it. And they rushed her to the hospital, man. She didn't make it. Shut down her kidneys, and it killed her. So, Tylenol's, it's serious. When they tell you don't take more, I think, look it up online because I don't want to give you medical advice. But there is a limit you can take on Tylenol in a 24-hour period. But Tylenol with ibuprofen is really effective. Once you get your pain level down to the bearable amount, start trying that and get away from that. Get away from those pain meds, man. They work, but they can destroy you. I mean, they can destroy your life. And you want to feel pain. Because when you don't feel pain, you do things. The gel stuff is easier for your body to break down. Ace, talk about that. What do you mean gel stuff? Because I know I've used like these patches for my back, but they're like Lanacane and something else. And I don't know how this life went from an automotive trivia to how do you deal with chronic pain. If you're a mechanic for 40 years, chances are you're going to have chronic pain. Pills in gel form. Liquid gel capsules. Pills in gel form. It's like a capsule type thing. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like the Tylenol. If you get them in a capsule, they'll break down faster. Yeah. But yeah, he's going through some serious pain. He had a serious surgery done. What's the trivia question? You know what? We didn't have enough people. You know what? I'll do a trivia question. This will be one that I'll hopefully, if no one gets it, we're gonna spin anyway. Because you guys hung out with me tonight. I appreciate you doing that. I do. The channel's not just about sitting here bullshitting, you know. It's really about teaching automotive. And I have the ability to do that, and I have a lot of skills. And we got these projects going on. So check out the lives, because we're going to do the live on a mini bike. But this is a question a lot of people can't get. And regardless of it, I'm going to write down all the names of the people that are here right now. We'll put it this way. Everybody just make a comment so I know who's here and who's watching, so that we can spin for some artwork tonight. Anyway, what is a boo sensor? B-O-O. Perfect question for Halloween coming up. Does anyone know what a boo is? You usually see it on a scanner when you're looking at automotive stuff. So what is a boo sensor? Anybody got any guesses? It's fun to guess at it because sometimes you get some pretty funny ones people come up with. What is a boo sensor? B-O-O. Then I'll ask another question that's more generic so you guys can maybe get that one. Anybody got any guesses? What is a boo sensor? And then what I do with the trivia is if no one knows it, I always give the answer so you can learn something along the way. So you don't feel like, oh, we're just sitting here, nobody can answer any questions. I want people to learn as we go. And then I try to tell some funny stories on during the trivias. So a boo sensor is brake on off. So when you're looking at a scanner, when a car cuts you off, you jump out of surprise. The sensor lets you know, I'll be okay. That's what I'm talking about. I like it when people guess at them, man. That's a great answer. Freaky music. That was a great answer, man. I love that stuff. Brake pedal on off light. You're right. It's a brake pedal on off. Yeah, so what that sensor does, a lot of times it's part of the cruise control. You'll look it off. And a lot of people don't know, and that's what I try to teach as I go. If you ever have your cruise control stop working, go check your brake light fuse and make sure your brake lights are working. Because if they're not working, it won't let the cruise control set. Because the brake pedal signal is what signals the cruise control to shut off. So if you notice when you're driving down a road with cruise on, you hit the brake pedal, the cruise control goes off. So that's on-off switch. So ACE. So I like two answers. So ACE and freaky music. I'm gonna let you guys both spin and see. So let me get you in position. That's what's nice about this little thing I got now. It's I can switch this around. So you guys see that okay? So this is how the trivias work. And it's my fault the trivia didn't work tonight because I messed up with my other camera. I tried to hook up my good camera, and for some reason YouTube won't push your live feed out on the shorts feed if you use a good camera. You got to use your phone. I Googled it. That's okay. At least you were honest about it. I want to give away something tonight because I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. And this isn't really what it's literally tied to the brake light itself. Yeah, it is actually. It's a signal that comes from the brake light switch that tells the computer you stepped on the brake. so it knows to disengage the cruise control. So if your sensor, if that signal's not working, your cruise control will not set. Okay, so here we go. This will be for you, Ace. If you land on right here where it says go big, you're gonna win a piece of artwork. You ready? Here we go. Close. All right. Freaky music. Here we go. If you land on go big, you're gonna win some artwork. Whoa! Big winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's cool. I like it when people win because I hate it when no one wins. I want you guys to win. I really do. So freaky music. You win a piece of artwork. Look, okay, check them out. Pick. This is 1. This is 2. 3. Which one would you like? 1. This is 3. That's 2. Make sure we get the right one. Here, you know what? Here we go. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Cool. Freaky music. Which one do you think? This one? We'll call this 1. I'll pass, dude. Harcourt is awesome, but I don't have an address. Truck driver. All right, man. That's cool. That's cool. No problem. We've had other people that have won, and they said they had so much fun at the trivia that they just save it for next week. So that's cool. No cigar, Ace. I'll tell you a story about cigar. My girlfriend, she conned me into going on a cruise. I've never been on a cruise. She paid for the whole thing. I didn't have nothing to do with it. She says, we're going on a cruise. So we went on this cruise, and we went to Dominica Republic. And I was there. I don't even smoke, but I was there, and they had these chocolate-covered cigars. So I bought a box of cigars while I was there. I'm going to take them to my shop and give them out to the guys that I work with. And they'll appreciate it. But they were, that was kind of cool going to Dominica Republic. We rented a cab for the day. And it's so cheap over there. It's amazing how, how people, it's so much cheaper in different countries for certain things. I couldn't believe how much cheaper things were. It's like, so in, not that I'm rich or nothing, because I'm not. I'm barely making it right now because my income was cut in half. And here's the deal. I bet a lot of people didn't know. I'll let you guys in on it because I try to tell everybody so they know. Because don't be surprised. If something happens to your wife, you only get a portion of their Social Security. I'd love to go to the Dominican Republic. It looks so nice. My dog came from there though. Yeah, actually, it was pretty cool. We spent one day in Puerto Plata, and we didn't know what we were gonna do. So I found this guy. He had a taxi, and I conned him. I didn't con him. I negotiated a good price for a day, and he drove us all over, man, for $70. Took us wherever we wanted to go. You know, took us to go eat, took us to a farm, wherever we wanted to go all day, man. He just took us. And he was like our personal, like, tour guy. It was pretty cool. I went on a Carnival cruise, got arrested in Jamaica for buying some weed on the beach. Sorry to laugh at you, man, but that's kind of, that sucked, man. Then you have to do in Jamaica. That's funny, man. So what was it like to get arrested in Jamaica, man? Did they take you, did you get put in jail with all the other people, or what? How'd that go down? I bet you that was no fun. You know what's funny? It's so lackadaisy that people don't even think about it, and they'll try to get on a plane and not even think about they got a bag in their pocket. Yeah, no. It's pretty funny. I had a buddy of mine, and he goes, he got pulled over one time, and he was a smoker. And he got pulled over, and the cop had him get out of the car. And he said he was standing there talking to him. He's all pied, standing there talking, just got out of the car, jail for the night. Seen the judge in the morning. That's all. That's you can't make that shit up, man. So, uh, anyway, my buddy gets pulled over by the cops in his car. So he gets out of his car. The cop had him get out of the car, and he gets out and he's standing there. And he goes, all of a sudden, I just feel him go, like, grab something. He goes, and in his head, he's like, what was that? And he said he had a baggie in his pocket, and the corner of the baggie was sticking out of his pocket. And the cop got his bag. And back then they used to write you up for possession. It was like $100 fine. He goes, but he was like, I couldn't believe he got that, man. He just picked it right out of my pocket. You know? That's freaking funny. I have to tell my girl about that. That's hilarious. Well, people don't realize when you go over there, man, you're not from there. When you leave the United States, your rights went out the window. You know, that's like going to Mexico, man. You mess with the wrong cop down there, man. You know, I'll tell you a funny story about police and brutality. Sailed off on me, left me behind. Yeah, I could see that because they don't wait for no one, man. They got these things, they call them pier runners. And when it's time for the ship to leave, the ship leaves. And they got these people, they call them pier runners, and everybody goes out to the edge of the ship and watches them because you'll see them come. Man, they're running, they got all their bags and crap, and they're trying to get to the ship before they get left behind. Because if you get left behind, you have to pay for and figure out how to go to the next port to get back on the ship. And there's some of these places you don't want to get left behind as a foreigner. Like, I don't know if you'd want to be left in Dominica Republic, Puerto Plata, looking like a foreigner walking around with a Go Big hat on. You know, you might be in a bad spot. Sailed off on me. Yeah, plus Jamaica is part of the UK. If I'm not mistaken, totally different rights. Yeah, you ain't kidding. I'll tell you a story about a friend of mine that his dad was a drinker, and he was with him and they were traveling. He got pulled over by the cops, and so his dad was going to go to jail for a DUI. So they were in Kentucky, and so the cops get him out of the car, and they're doing their thing with his dad. So when they got done with their dad, they looked at him, and he was like 14 at the time, and they said, turn around, put your hands behind your back. And he goes, what am I being arrested for? I didn't do anything. And he said, this big old fat cop, man, he weighed about 350 pounds, walks up over to him, and he goes, he grabbed me by my arm, twisted it behind my back, and he lifted me off the ground and slammed me on the hood. And he goes, this ain't California, boy. So things are different. You got to walk that line when you go to certain places. And Mexico's one of them. You can get out of a lot of stuff down in Mexico if you got cash, but they'll drain you dry trying to figure out how much that you have. But Mexico's not a place where you want to be doing something stupid, because those cops down there, man, they're a little rough around the edges. You know. So get all them foreigners down there that stay down there in forget what it's called. There's an area down there everybody goes down to go cruising, and your cop car was a Hyundai. They put you in a Hyundai to take you to jail. That's freaking. You can't make that. They work with what they got. That's hilarious, though, man. You had to be sitting in that back seat going, what just happened? Where am I going? Everybody's leaving me on the ship. Everybody's going to be partying tonight, and I'm going to be sitting in jail with a bunch of Jamaicans. That's some funny crap right there. I got to tell my girl, she'll think that's hilarious, man. It's funny how this live just kind of went sideways. You get the right people with the same kind of mentality, and the lives can go pretty good. So what we're doing with the channel, I've been putting in a lot of videos about automotive, about little projects, tools, how to use tools, electrical, how to use meters, that kind of stuff. Um, 5 other idiots. There was 5 of you in the backseat of a Hyundai. They must have just been waiting for you guys to catch you guys like that. They must have been watching the dealer walking through and trying to sell stuff, waiting for people to buy. That's funny, man. Nowadays, gosh, in California, it's like going and getting it's like buying tomatoes at the farmer's market. There was, that's hilarious. Were you guys talking in the back seat going, what the hell just happened? I thought this was Jamaica, Mon. Yeah, they got ganji down there. That's a big thing, ganji. You hear a lot about that. Dealer was a cop. There you go. That makes it easy, right? That's hilarious, man. That's freaking. I mean, it ain't funny because it happened to you, but it's kind of a funny story, that happened. I'd like to learn to make totally clueless besides charging my brake tires and oil. You know what, man? If you can do brakes, you're ahead of a lot of people. You can learn mechanics, and I'm hoping that what we can do, I want to put together like some modules, like you can go and say, hey, you want to learn electrical, you can go watch the module and learn as much as you can. It's hard. I can teach pretty well through the videos for the most part. It does a pretty good job. I'm sorry about the time. Lesson learned, I bet. That's a great story, though. I love stories like that. I like having stories to tell. And I got some stories, but some of them I can't tell on here. They'll probably ban me. I got a few stories. But I tell my grandkids, man, you got to have stories to tell in life. You don't want to go through life going, I didn't do anything. I mean, I'm not saying go out and break the law, but you know what? You gotta live like throttle down, live, with your foot on the pedal, man. Don't sit around waiting for death, man, because it's coming for all of us. Don't wait around for it. It'll happen fast enough. Yeah. You know what I'd recommend to you, Freaky Music? I tell you what's pretty good is some of these adult education for classes for basic automotive. And honestly, if you're really thinking about getting into automotive, go through an automotive program. You can go through an automotive program for about 7 or 8,000, and you can be working. And mechanics are making good money now. Yeah, that's no joke. 150 grand. You can make 150 grand a year as a mechanic now. And it is a rewarding job. You're always learning something, so there's always something new coming out, and so you got to stay on top of everything. You spend a lot of money on tools, but I recommend for a guy is like absolutely got to live. I'm an auto body painter, 30 years. Oh, really? Maybe I can yak at you about that a little bit because I want to learn how to paint. I mean, I don't want to be painting other people's cars, but I just want to learn. Because I pick up stuff that doesn't run, and I can make it run because I'm a mechanic. But a lot of times the paint, I have to wait for a car that the paint's not thrashed because it's hard to sell a car that has thrashed paint. I thought, man, some of these cars would be great if you just could throw some paint on them. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. There's nothing wrong with that if you like what you're doing. Yeah. Yeah, pinstriping is one of those things. It takes a little bit of like some art skill. It's hard to learn. I had a guy try to teach me how to pinstripe, and you got to have a hand for it. If you don't have that smooth hand for it, it's kind of like freehand painting, and you can get good at it. You got to practice that. And they got these brushes, and they're real long, and they get real skinny, and the more pressure, the wider the line gets. So there's a real art to pinstriping. But mechanic work, honestly, this is what I recommend to a young man that's thinking about getting into automotive. I would go through a school, learn as much as I could, spend a year and go through an automotive, program, and then get out, go to work somewhere, get about 2 or 3 years under your belt, and open a shop. Open your own shop and do a suspension and front end shop. Do front end and alignments and brake work. That's where the money's at. Because front end work pays double what it takes to do the job. So when you're charging flat rate, everything you do you get paid double on. And all the parts markup on front end work is like crazy. Like they're paying $20 and charging you 100. There's a huge markup on front end work when it comes to the parts. And you're never gonna get rich working for somebody else. Take it from a guy. I did okay because I have a pension now. I worked 25 years for a government agency as a fleet mechanic, and I actually was a fleet manager when I left. So I went from a lube guy all the way. I was ASE certified master mechanic when I got there, and I went from the lowest level guy up to the top manager when I retired. But now I'm back. So here's the funny part. So the guys that used to be on my crew, they're the bosses now, and I'm the mechanic out in the shop. I do around 400 hours a month. So what's that? Yeah, that's a lot of hours, huh? I used to work at a mill when I was a kid, and we used to put in 100-hour weeks. People think I'm full of it. No, 100-hour weeks. We work 16-hour days, 7 days a week. So, yeah, I know what it's like to put in long hours. First year mechanic, I can make 100,000. Right now in my shop, in the shop just around the corner from me, it's a transmission shop. They're looking for a qualified guy, and they're paying 60 an hour. So you figure that out, you know. Yeah. If you open a shop, the sky's the limit. Especially if you do good work and you got good people working for you, the sky's the limit on what you can make. Yeah, 50. I would say entry level is probably about 28 an hour right now, or 25, but you can get to that upper level pretty fast. You're only talking 4 or 5 years, and you could be at the high end making 60 an hour. And by then it'll be more than that. But here's the deal. You never get rich working for somebody else. You don't. You're just going to trade your time for money, time for hours. To where once you open your own shop, when you put those extra hours in, you're putting that money into your pocket. And you can make some serious coin by opening up your own shop. And what I would do is I recommend people to specialize. Don't do everything. That's why I say front end work, brake and front end work. Take the gravy of the business and take it all. And what that means, that's the easy work that pays well. You can make serious money. I wish I would have opened a shop. I never did. But, I worked for a place for 25 years and I have a pension now. So every month I get a check until the day I die. And there's a lot to be said about that, to be able to have that, knowing that you have that coming. But it's not enough. Like I said, right now, I'm having to work part year, part time, because when I retired, because I'm in the PERS system, I can only work 960 hours a year or I lose my retirement in the PERS system. So I work 960 hours. Well, that's the thing I was going to say. If you lose your loved one, I don't know, I can't step down to 25 for a few years. Maybe I'll do projects in my free time, learn enough to start my own thing. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That's how I started learning that's how I got into automotive. I was doing people's automotive work on the side for, I'm not kidding you, I used to do brake jobs for $20. I would do a front brake job for $20 labor. That's what I used to charge. And then that's how I got into it. I just did a lot of, You can R&R transmissions. It's not a rocket science. That kind of stuff's not rocket science. It's just taking the bolts out, taking it out, putting it back in, hook everything up. It's not rocket science. I'm in Canada. You need to be a Red Seal certified to work as a journeyman here. That's pretty cool, though. I like hearing that. Because what that does, anytime you require a certification, it drives up the wages. So you get paid what you're worth, you know? Yeah. Those drum brakes did my head in. Yeah. Yeah, drum brakes can... I can give you a couple suggestion on drum brakes, and that is just always only do one side at a time, so you can go over and look at the other side. When you take the springs off and stuff, you know, leave one together. Springs went everywhere. There's tricks to all that, you know. They got tools for getting those springs off, and maybe I'll do that on a live because I got to do the rear brakes on that OBS. I had a right rear brake locked up. The emergency brake cable is locked up, so I'm going to do the rear brakes on that. So maybe when I do that rear brake on that OBS, and that's not an easy one to do. It's got some funky springs on it. I'll show you what they're hook springs. They're kind of funny, kind of hard. My first rotors I spent like 3 hours sedging to get them off, and then found out there was a damn pin I had to push in to get them off. Yeah. Isn't that funny? I'll tell you a funny story about brakes. My brother-in-law one time, he was doing the brakes on his car down there, and he was wanting to do them on his own, you know, and everything. So, and he would get really irritated really easy. So he's down there, and he's like down there all day. I see him down there. I could see him. He's got the, you know, out up on a set of stands. I told him how to do it, you know, put it on the stand, get the wheels off, and kind of walked him through it. And then he comes down the house, and he's flaming, man. He's just so irritated. He is pissed, man. He goes, man, I've been working on that thing. He said, I've been working on that thing all day. He said, I can't get the frickin' drum on. And I go, he goes, I had a heck of a time getting them off, and now the drums won't go on. I've had them back apart 3 or 4 different times, and I can't get the drum to go on. He goes, can you come down there and look at it? And I go, yeah, give me a second. So I walked down there, and I walked up, and I looked at it, and as soon as I looked at it, I knew what it was, because I could see everything's pushed out like that. And I looked in there, and I go, hey, take off that emergency brake. He had the emergency brake on when he took it apart, and then when he went back together, he was trying to get the drum on there, and he was fighting it, man. He was beating on it and everything else. And I go, you gotta take the emergency brake off. It's holding the drum out. Red Cillars, the technician working on your vehicle knows what he's doing. Yeah, okay, so they have a thing here for that. It's called ASE. So if you go in, and I tell people that if you're looking for a good quality shop and you're wanting to know am I taking my shop to a place of people that really know what they're doing, they have a thing called ASE, and it's called Automotive Service Excellence. And a lot of places like that are AAA approved, you have to be ASE certified to work there. And that's the way the shop was where I worked. I was an ASE certified master. So what it is, you have to go take tests. And if you don't pass the test, you don't get certified. And so they have tests in every category. And if you pass the tests in every category, you get a master mechanic. And that's what I was. I was an ASE certified master mechanic with a L1 and advanced engine performance, with only a handful of guys in the state of California at the time had that, because you had to pass this really crazy test about drivability, electronics, how to use a scanner. It's just California nationwide. You know, I don't know if it's nationwide. I think it is. So if you say ASE, usually you go into an ASE certified shop, all their certificates will be on the wall, because all the shop owners want to kind of brag that up, that all their guys are ASE certified. And it shows that you know what you're doing, because you're not going to pass an ASE certified master tech class if you don't know what you're doing. And it's like an all-day test. You go down there, and I took all my tests all at once. And then I went back and did the master mechanics level class. And so when I went to work for the county, I was a certified master mechanic. And so I haven't noticed that in a Pennsylvania or Jersey, but I never looked for it either. Yeah, red seal test for auto body paint is like 180 questions. Yeah, it's good that they do that though, because then, I've been out in the South and you don't know what you're getting into. My daughter lives out in Tennessee. She's taking her car and stuff, and I'm like, what are they doing? They did what? They don't have a clue. They just like, they ramrod people, man. I'm not kidding. I'm not saying that the state of Tennessee is that way. I'm just saying there's some shops, and my daughter lives in Arizona. So out here in California, they have BAR, which is called Bureau of Automotive Repair, and you're licensed through them, and people can make complaints about problems that they have. Yeah, that's the way it was on ASC too. It wasn't easy, man. You had to know what you're doing. And my daughter, she took her car to a shop, and they messed it all up. And I called her and I said, no, that's not right. I said they shouldn't have charged you for this, and they didn't. They didn't give her an estimate, a bunch of stuff, And I go, don't you guys have Bureau of Automotive Repair? And she looked into it, and there was no agency in the state of Arizona that monitors car repairs. People can just rip you off, and the only thing you can do is take them to court and hopefully win. Probably the one on the corrugated wall. What do you guys think about my corrugated wall? I was thinking I was gonna paint it like a battleship gray so it's not so shiny, but I kind of like the shiny in a way. Sometimes it's kind of too much with the lights. Coolest vehicle on the planet. Coolest vehicle on the planet. You ever seen a Celine? Super expensive. Pretty nice. Shiny steel is rad. I like it. Okay, good to hear. Yeah, that's good to hear. So these right here, I did these quickies. It was a calendar. So I just cut the pictures out and put them up with magnets. That's a nice thing about this corrugated metal is I'm going to get some of those really heavy duty magnets and hang some wrenches and stuff up. And you can move them around. So you know how when you're trying to hang stuff and you want to move it, you got to make another hole and move it and all that. This way, we can just move stuff around on that wall anytime we want. I got a 74 Bronco, coolest vehicle on the planet. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Matter of fact, go check out, I dropped a video. Somebody did a really nice job on a Bronco in the car show here recently. They painted it sky blue and white, and it was popping, man. I liked it a lot. The old Fords, all them old Fords are so popular now, you can't even touch them with that. If you want to do a cool little project, it costs you a fortune now. Yeah, that is a cool vehicle for sure. I tell you what I have in the backyard. I got my daughter's first car when she was 16 years old. I bought her a 73 Mercury Comet 2-door with a factory 302. That thing is a rocket ship, man. Yeah, I don't think we need to do that. Trying to get a Geo Tracker someday. I was thinking it was a Suzuki. Maybe it wasn't a Tracker. I think it was a Suzuki that my buddy had. My buddy got a Suzuki Samurai. When they first came out, they were really small. And I had my smog license at the time, and he came into the shop and he goes, "Hey, I need you to smog that Samurai." So he pulled it in. I started looking it over, and I go, "Hey, you don't have to smog this thing." He goes, "What?" I goes, "Yeah, it's less than 50 cubic inches. If it's less than 50 cubic inches, it's smog exempt." So there's some older Suzuki Samurai 4-wheel drives around that you don't have to smog them. And check this out. He had a 3/4 ton Chevy pickup, and that Samurai would fit in the back of that pickup with the tailgate closed. It was a 4-wheel drive sitting in the back of a 4-wheel drive. It was pretty cool. I painted my buddy Bronco blue, Crabber blue. He's got white interior. It looks like a California beach cruiser. Yeah, that's a nice color. I'm, I've been wanting to paint. So that Comet I have, it's a 73 Mercury Comet. So it looks like a Maverick, but it's a Comet. It's a poor man's hot rod. That's why I say, man, you want to build a poor man's hot rod? Go get you a mid 70s Comet. I used to have a 71 with a 302 with a 4 barrel that I put a camshaft in, and I did a bunch of stuff to the ignition, and man, that thing was freaking, it was a beast, man. It was a sleeper. You couldn't, it was like a grandma car, and that thing would flat get it. Yeah. All black 225 BMW 7 Series on 26. BMW. Yeah, it's a cool car, but I hate working on European cars. They're hard to work on. I mean, I never liked working on them. I tell you what I do like though. One of my favorite cars is like about I'm not sure on the year, but a Porsche Carrera. I've always liked that Carrera. That looks nice. I had a Nissan. I had a 2000, I had a 14 Nissan 370 Nismo. That was a bad car. It had a 350 horse V6 in it, naturally aspirated. Monza. Yeah, you know what? How funny you said Monza. I built a motor for a Monza when I was working in a shop, and it was a 305. And I'll tell you a funny story about that Monza. Change the spark plugs in it. Good luck. You can't get the plugs in them. You got to drill holes in the firewall. You got to drill holes in the fender to get the plugs out. 760 BMW was a bad boy. That Nissan, I tell you a fast story about the Nissan. I took that thing, I was going to Chico. I had to do a training over in Chico one day, and the weather was nice, and man, it was, it was perfect weather. I came out of the training, I was heading home. I had about 30 miles to head home. I had AC/DC blasting on the radio, and I was just getting it, man. That car would do almost 200 miles an hour. I did 135 in it before, but it had odometer said 200, and it was a fast car. But anyway, man, I'm just getting it. And I'm going down the road, and I see this out of my left eye. I was like, what was that? And I look in the mirror, friggin' high patrol sitting right in the median. And I look down at the speedometer. I'm doing like over 120. I'm doing like 125, 130, somewhere in there. And man, I get on the brakes real hard. I pull over in the right lane. I try to get behind this Camaro, and here he comes. I'm like, oh man, you got me. And so he puts the lights on me, he pulls me over, he goes, are you in a hurry? And I go, no. I go, man, I said, the weather's nice. I had the AC on, I had AC/DC playing, and I was on my way home. I just got out of a training for the day, and I was just in a good mood, not paying attention to my speed. And I go, this car can get away from you if you don't pay attention. And he looks around at the car, and he goes, yeah, he goes, it looks like it'll go pretty fast. And I was just a little honest with him. I go, yeah, I did 135 over the bridge one time. I'm going up through Cherokee. I said, I won't take it over that. And I think he pulled me over. And so what he said to me, he said, you know how fast you were going? And in my head, I was like, yeah, I know exactly how fast I was going. And I said, no. He goes, you were doing like 95. And in my head, I was saying, bull crap, I was doing like 125 when I seen you, when I got on the brakes. So anyway, he walks up to the car, and he looks it all over, and he goes, I'm going to let you off with a warning. He goes, man, you need to slow this thing down. I said, no problem. And so I walked away from a ticket in that Nismo going like between 125 and 130. That's where I seen it as it was coming down as I was getting on the brakes. I had a 70 Camaro years ago. Had a 350 LT1 in it. Fast car, yeah. Camaros were fast. Chevelles were really fast. I tell you another car I really like. You know, if I had a chance to build one of these, I'd build it. 1970 Chevy Nova. Man, my buddy had one of those when I was in high school. What a nice car. It was fast. A 70 Nova with a 4-speed in it. Though, you know what makes a really fast car? Is a light car. A lot of people get these big old boat cars and are trying to make hot rods out of them. Get something that's light. That Comet, it weighs like 2,300 pounds. It doesn't weigh nothing, man. You take a 2,300 pound car and you put a small block in it that's pumped up, that's got a camshaft in it, and you did some intake work on and put a good carburetor on it. Yeah, 68 Nova Chevy 2. Yep, fast car, very fast car. Especially if you do something with the suspension to get the wheels to stick to the ground. The problem with those Novas, man, they were so light and had so much power you couldn't get them to hook up. But once you put some ladder bars or you do some suspension work on it, man, that's a crazy fast car. I mean, it'll make your eyeballs go like that, That Nissan was that. Some fat tires on the back. Yeah. A 510 Datsun? Buick Skylark. Yeah, I don't know about the Skylark. I remember the Skylark had a little V6, like a 231 or something in it. I did a bunch of work for a guy that had one of those Skylarks. Uh, oh, the 510 was a. I had two of those Datsun 510s when I was younger and my family was just had a young family. I built a 510 and I put I cammed it up and I put a really nice carburetor on it. And man, that thing was, I couldn't imagine one with a, what'd you put in it? A 4x4 from a, yeah, I'll bet. Those 510s don't weigh nothing. Mine had a little, mine had a L16 in it and I pulled it out and put a L20B in it that came out of the pickups. And I put a really high lobe camshaft, put heavy springs in it and put a really high lift cam in it. I'm trying to think I put a Weber carb on it. A nice Weber carb and a camshaft and did some work on the intake. And man, that thing was a little rocket ship. Fun to drive, man. Those things, I hauled two of those to the junkyard when I bought my new house because I didn't want to bring them over here to the new house. You know what they get for those things now? A beater, like, that's just a shell. They'll get $5,000 for them. I've seen them sell for 15 grand. Yeah, they get good money for those 510s. If they're not all chopped up, a lot of them are all chopped up, where people have chopped them up and, cut all into them and did modification. But if you can find one that's bone stock, that's in good shape, somebody will give you 10 grand for it. It was the body and everything else was chrome. Yeah, they're a cool car. I had a car I just recently got rid of about 2 or 3 years ago. I should have hung on to it. And when I sold it, I knew I should have keep it. But at the time we were gonna move and I thought, let's just get rid of this thing. You probably never heard of it. It was a Datsun B110. You ever heard of a B110? They used to call them a Datsun Sunny or a Datsun 1200. And they had a little 1200 4-cylinder in them. And they're a little two-door sedan. You don't see a lot of them. It's called a Datsun B110. I should have kept that thing. I sold it, and the thing was rotting away, man. I mean, the lower panels were rotted all off of it, and it didn't run. The motor did run. I told the guy, if you put gas in it, it'll start and run. It's just been sitting. And the interior was completely thrashed. I got $3,000 for that car, just like it was. Yeah. I have a lot. I'll tell you a car that we all have those cars, don't we? I think that's why we build stuff is because we're going back to our memories of these cars and memories of things that we did when we were younger and did in these cars. And it brings us back to a place that, it's like music. You listen to music, it takes you back to a certain place. When you get in a certain car that you did something with, or you kissed your first girlfriend, or you had your first hot rod or whatever, it takes you back. But I'll tell you, I had a 71 and I kicked you're not going to believe what I sold this car for. I had a 71 Firebird Formula that had a fiberglass dual scoop hood on it. and it had a 400 motor with a 400 turbo on it. And man, you talk about a fast car. That freaking thing was scary. It scared me. It was so fast. And that's why I sold it, because I thought, you know what? I'm going to kill myself in this car if I don't sell it. And I sold it to a guy for 450 bucks. 450 bucks. The hood now is worth about $2,000 just for the hood. But I remember being in that car going down this main stretch of our in our town where I live, and locking up the brakes on that thing, going about 90, and just doing a Rockford file like this, and just floating it like that all the way around the other way, dropping it into first and just stomping on it, and just lighting up those tires, man, for like 100 yards, do the old Rockford file turnaround. But I was wild and crazy back then, and I was in my 20s. I wasn't afraid of nothing. I'd do it. I did it all at full speed. I've slowed down over the years. 71 Formula, yeah, that was a bad car, man. On the registration, it actually said 71 and a half on the paperwork. It was a really rare car. The body was thrashed, but the running gear was, man. Like, the interior looked like crap. It had a padlock on the back hood. When you put the trunk down, it had a padlock to hold the trunk down. And but man, you talk about a fast car. I had a buddy who used to try to scare us all, because he used to drive like a maniac everywhere. And he came from out of town one time right after I got that Firebird. I said, come on, man, let's go for a ride. So I took him in that Firebird. I scared him so bad, man. He said, okay. He goes, let's stop. He goes, you scaring me. So that was fun to do, though. I actually seen his eyeballs. A Sunbeam Tiger. Yeah, those are cool little cars. Sunbeam. You know what another neat little car is? If you ever get a chance to get one and put something in, they're really neat. I knew a guy that built one, and you ever seen an Opel GT? An Opel, it has a little bubble on the one side, on the driver's side. There's a little bubble in the hood. They put a little bubble in the hood so the motor would clear. It had kind of a funny shaped motor, but it's called a motor Opel GT. I knew a guy that took one of those and he cut the bubble off. He pulled the motor out and he changed the back window and he changed the back, and it looked like a little tiny Corvette. It was really cool. I want to learn how to do some painting. I think Ace, aren't you the one that told me that you paint? Or that's what you do? You paint? Maybe when I get ready to. I talked to a guy yesterday on another forum, and he was saying if you're thinking about painting and you've never done it before, he said get a 3M gun. He said they're pretty reasonable, and he goes, they're a good gun. Yep. What do you think about the 3M guns? I'm thinking about getting a gun and I want to try to paint this OBS, because I've never painted, but I think I can pull it off. I've done everything else, PPG. I heard that from a lot of other people. PPG. And another brand I can't remember, was awful, kind of a weird brand. Now, what do you think about painting? Can you build a booth at your house and do a decent job, or you think, oh, you don't like the 3M guns? He was just saying that they comes with different. It comes with 3 different like metering valves on the unit or something. Iwata, yeah, that's what everybody was saying. Iwata. So I want to get something that's like beginner level, like a beginner's level. Just so I don't want to get the best of the best, and I don't want to get a piece of junk. I want to get something that's fair, and learn the basics on how to mix paint and how to spray. Because I want to learn how to do that. Something I've never done. Like I said, I can do everything else. Anything on an automobile. I can do air conditioning, brakes, cruise, everything you can think of front to back, I can do it. I've done it. Rebuilt carburetors, done drivability, tune-up work, electrical. I've done a lot of electrical. That's what I do now. I build cop cars right now. That's what I do for a living. They got them stacking up. Use a 3M gun, so I can't comment. Okay. Yeah. SATA. Is that a gun? SATA? SATA? I want to get something. I don't want to spend $500, but I want to get me a gun. And how big a compressor do I need to be laying down paint? As far as you know, a good sized compressor. Do I need a 40-gallon, 50-gallon tank on there? Because I want to do that. That's something I want to try. I think I can do it. I really do. Because there's nothing I haven't been. I've done some body work. You know, I'm not a body guy by any means, but I've done some body work, and you know, mechanicking and electrical. I've done everything else. It's probably pretty good. Sata is a good brand. Okay, I'll check that out. I'll see what I can come up with. Maybe when I get ready to do it. What about here's a discussion we had with that other guy today is, do they make not that I want to buy cheap paint, but I know when you're starting out learning something, you're going to waste a lot of material. So is there a cheap paint that I should try to so I can learn, you know, how to get the flow and everything and just practice on some doors and stuff like that? How would you recommend a guy that's never painted before to you know, start laying down some paint and learning how to do it? Would you recommend is there a paint you can use that doesn't cost, you know, some of these paints now, man, are crazy, like $1,000 a gallon, depending on what you're using, but some of them are crazy expensive. That guy today, he said a good quality paint job nowadays is $5,000 for the material. So anyway, 5 horsepower, 80 gallon. Okay. Okay, so a SATA gun and then a 5 horse. You know what I'm gonna do? Cause that's how I am, man. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. Oh shit, thought I was. Here we go. So I can remember that. I'm gonna try to do that. I've been wanting to do that for a long time. Is to not that I think it's easy, because I know it's not, because that's like what I do. People think, oh, that should be easy. No, it's not. It takes some skill. But anyway, with the shop supplies, yeah. So I'm gonna look into that and see if I can. Actually, you know what I thought about doing is starting to paint Harleys, because it's hard to find somebody to paint a bike. Nobody wants to paint them. I don't know what the deal is, but I don't know if it's because you got to get at all those weird angles and stuff, but I don't see any. I mean, there's a few around, but most of the guys that are worth a damn, you can't get anything in there to get painted. You got to it's a year, a year down the road to get your bike painted. I got a 91 Electra. You need quite a few supplies, really. I'm not sure about cheap paint brand. You need quite a few supplies, really. Yeah, I'll have to look into that and see if it's worth doing. I'd just like to try it because I've never done it. I got a 91 Electra Glide, and I want to tear it down to the frame and have the frame, the tank, the front and rear fender, and the side covers all done at the same time, and have them done in a deep candy. So I heard that candy's like a 4-step process, but that's what's on it. So I want to go with a candy with a metal flake. But I haven't been able to find anybody, you know, that's worth a damn that can pull it off. I took it to a couple paint and body places, and the one place I went to, they said, well, we just can't guarantee the color. I said, what do you mean? They're like, well, because Harley Davidson, they have their own color matching system, and ours is different. He said it might be close, he goes, and then they quoted me some kind of crazy price. I was like, that's crazy. It's not that much material on a motorcycle, you know, but I know there's a lot of work is getting it ready. Yeah. But anyway, I think I'm going to look in to see what it would cost me to get a gun, and maybe I'll upgrade my compressor a little bit. I got a good compressor, but it's time for a new one. So I'll get one big enough so maybe I can lay down some paint. Have you ever painted build a booth in your driveway with plastic and all that just to keep everything out? Is it even worth doing? Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I was told about the candy. The candy's a whole different setup. It's a different way of painting. He said you got to find somebody that'll do it, but we'll see. Because that's my baby. It's a 91 Electra Glide it's called a FLHS. I've had it it's got 115,000 miles on it, and my wife bought me that bike, and so it means a lot to me. So I want to rebuild it like new. I want to tear the whole thing down and redo the whole thing. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys hanging out at the live tonight. I think I'm going to call it a night because I got some editing to do on a video that I need to post for tomorrow. So if you guys would, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Hey, Ace, I appreciate you hanging out here and bullshit with me tonight. I appreciate that. Hopefully the next lives we do, we can give away some tools because that was the plan tonight, is get enough people in the room. So we're gonna head out, man. Take care.